Hello, friends. Welcome to Laws and Scriptures 360. So, in today's video, we're going to be discussing a legal instrument that allows you to appoint another person to act on your behalf. Maybe you are not going to be disposed for a personal matter or a legal matter or even a financial matter, and you want another person to represent you. Now, with this instrument, you would be able to empower that person by clearly stating your instructions on what the person should do and how the person should act on your behalf in that instrument. The idea is so that when the person takes any action outside your clear actions that are stated in this instrument, you would not be bound by the actions of the person you have appointed. Now, before we proceed to into this video, I would like you to subscribe to this channel if you are yet to subscribe. Look, let me tell you, those who have subscribed to this channel are already having a good time. They are enjoying themselves. They are learning every day. So if you've not subscribed, kindly subscribe to this channel. You would not regret it, and I can assure you, you will not regret it. You will learn a lot, and you would also be exposed to, a lot of um information that ordinarily you would have been taken for granted, for let me put it that way. So you'll be exposed to a lot of information that will be beneficial not just to you but to the people around you. And kindly share this information to anyone that you know would love what is contained in it, and ensure to also like, so that we would also be encouraged to keep dishing out what we are doing. Now, before we proceed, the essence of this video is not just applicable in Nigeria, it's universally acceptable. You can use it in other countries and other jurisdictions. And in the course of this video, we're going to not just tell you about this instrument, but we're going to tell you the measures you need to take to ensure that you can use this legal instrument outside Nigeria. Now, this legal instrument is called a power of attorney. A power of attorney is a legal document by which one person authorizes another person to act on their behalf in either financial matters, um, or legal matters, or personal matters like health, or any of these things, personal, legal, or financial matters. So a power of attorney is actually executed by the donor in favor of the donee. The donor is the person who gives his authority to the donee to act on his behalf. So there are two parties in a power of attorney, and this is the donor and the donee. Now, the donor is more or less a principal, while the donee is the agent of the donor that takes the instruction from the donor. That takes instructions from the donor. Power of attorney can be used in for different purposes, like for buying, for selling, for managing property, for representing someone in a business transaction, for even operating bank accounts, for collecting rents or debts, for executing legal documents. Yes, you could use a power of attorney for any of these purposes. You just empower the donee. The donor empowers the donee, and then clearly states in the document, that's the power of attorney, that this is what he is empowering the donee at this time to do. Now, there are two types of power of attorney. One is the ordinary power of attorney, and the second is the irrevocable power of attorney. Now, for the ordinary power of attorney, it is called an ordinary power of attorney in Nigeria, and in some other jurisdictions, it could be called a general power of attorney. When I mean other jurisdictions, I mean other countries outside Nigeria. It could be called a general power of attorney. But in Nigeria, you could call it an ordinary power of attorney. And the one of the basic feature of this power of attorney is that it is revocable. It's a power of attorney that is enforced for a specific period of time, usually a year or less. it is revocable. The donor at any time can revoke the powers he has given the donee at any time. Now, this kind of power of attorney can be used for personal matters like collection of debts, representing one in a contractual agreement, signing on one's behalf, for managing properties and the rest. This particular kind of power of attorney that is called the general, the ordinary in Nigeria, and in some other jurisdictions outside Nigeria, it is usually called the general power of attorney. It is revocable. It is not. It does not last forever. So this particular power of attorney can be done by anyone, especially not just anyone. I mean, an adult. A person that is up to the age of majority. The age of majority in Nigeria is 18 years. So an adult can execute this kind of power of attorney in favor of another adult to act on their behalf for a particular transaction. Now, the second kind of power of attorney is called the irrevocable power of attorney. This irrevocable power of attorney is called irrevocable power of attorney in Nigeria. But in some other jurisdictions, it could be called the continuing power of attorney. Now, for jurisdictions like Nigeria, when I say other jurisdictions, please, I mean other countries, other countries, not Nigeria. So for the irrevocable power of attorney, it is usually used in transferring interest in land because it is coupled with an interest. What I mean is, for an irrevocable power of attorney, the donee parts with a particular amount of money, more like buying the power from the donor. And in some jurisdictions in Nigeria, like the southeastern part of Nigeria, the irrevocable power of attorney is used to transfer title to land. What I mean is, if someone wants to sell his land in some jurisdictions like Imo State, Abia State, some of the southeastern states, the person will execute an irrevocable power of attorney because this instrument is accepted by the lands registry of those states. So you execute an irrevocable power of attorney in this jurisdiction where the donee now is now paying an amount of money to the donor to transfer all his interest in that land to him or her, the donee. And by that very act, the power of attorney becomes irrevocable. It is continuing in such a way that the donor now has given his power and his right over that property to the donee, and the donee no longer acts in favor of the donor. The donee now acts in his own capacity as the owner of that property. That's what we call irrevocable power of attorney in Nigeria. But in some other jurisdictions, it is called continuing, which means that it outlives the donor of the power. It outlives the donor. Even if the donor is dead, the power of attorney continues. Now, in some other jurisdictions, I mean countries outside Nigeria, there is also a third power of attorney that is called the spring power of attorney. This power of attorney is the type that takes effect or comes into effect upon the happening of an event. For example, if the donor executes this power of attorney just in case he becomes mentally unstable or mentally incapacitated to do a particular thing, this particular spring power of attorney immediately takes effect, empowering a third party or another person to act on his behalf. This particular type of power of attorney is not applicable in Nigeria. Remember, I said it is applicable in some other countries of the world. Now, before we wrap up this video, I just want to mention that if peradventure you have appointed someone to act on your behalf, by using a power of attorney or by virtue of a power of attorney, and you want to use this instrument outside Nigeria, there are certain steps that you need to take in order to make this instrument applicable in another country. Now, this depends on the jurisdiction where you would want to be applying this instrument. Most of these jurisdictions will require that this power of attorney is properly executed. What I mean by execution is when the power of attorney is drafted, just ensure that you engage the services of a legal practitioner to do a proper drafting, and ensure another reason why you need to engage the services of a legal practitioner is so that the execution of the power of attorney is properly done. It's only a legal practitioner that will understand this part, that the execution of the power of attorney is done, and then in most cases the jurisdiction where you are to apply this instrument would require that you register it in your country and in that other country, and finally that it is notarized. Ensure that this document is notarized before you use it in another jurisdiction. I hope you found this video helpful. I want to thank you so much for having me, and enjoy the rest of your day.